Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming today. We are going to announce a significant case that extends from New Hampshire down to Virginia, including here in the Middle District of Pennsylvania. It has been an unbelievable collaborative law enforcement effort. Before we get started, I want to just introduce some of the significant law enforcement people who have led this investigation. First, Colonel Chris Paris, the Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner. Pennsylvania State Police Troop P Captain Pat Doherty. Pennsylvania State Police Troop P Lieutenant Derek Felsman. FBI Assistant Special Agent in charge of the Philadelphia region, Jamie Milligan. FBI Scranton Resident Agent in charge, Joe Noon. First Assistant United States Attorney, John Gerganis. Luzerne County DA, Sam Sangladolce. Wyoming County DA, Joe Peters. Lackawanna County DA, Mark Powell. Lackawanna County First Assistant District Attorney, Brian Gallagher. Scranton Police Chief, Tom Carroll. Wyoming Regional Police Chief, Mike Turner. Wilkes-Barre Chief, Joe Coffey. Deputy United States Marshal, Robert Lenahan. And a former legendary Scranton FBI agent and current Luzerne County Detective, Larry Whitehead. Thank you all for the significant work on this case. Over the past few months, a multi-jurisdictional, multi-agency investigation has begun into a violent criminal street gang operating in the Middle District of Pennsylvania and throughout the Northeast seaboard. The FBI and the Pennsylvania State Police are the best trained and have the most sophisticated and effective law enforcement tools in the world. But I stand here today to tell you that the most powerful tool in their law enforcement tool belt is their cooperation and collaboration with other law enforcement agencies. This case is an incredible example of what good police work, coupled with law enforcement teamwork and coordination, can produce. We are here today at Pennsylvania State Police Troop P because their great police work and their perseverance brought this case from a local criminal prosecution to a national federal prosecution. Thank you, Captain Doherty and Lieutenant Felsman and Troop P for your professional and selfless work. As a son of a Scranton police officer, I am proud to say that the initial break on this case, and I should also say, where's Joe Peters, another former Scranton police officer. The initial break on this case came on April 18th, 2024, when a Scranton police officer, Officer Grenfell, was on a routine call responding to a theft of AirPods and bank cards from a vehicle in South Scranton. The victim was able to track his AirPods to their location at a local hotel. The officer was able to get a description of the suspects from a store where they used the bank cards. Officer Grenfell went to the hotel, and on his way to the hotel, gave the description of the suspects to dispatch. At that same time, Detective Edward McIntyre, who's here with us today, was investigating a home invasion robbery in North Scranton. It had just occurred. Astutely, Detective McIntyre realized his suspects and Greenfield's suspects were the same. They went to the hotel, apprehended the suspects. The suspects were taken into custody in the beginnings of a concerted, cooperative effort by law enforcement was underway. Scranton Police Department soon found out that the suspects may be linked to a death here in Luzerne County. They contacted Troop P, and the vice unit at Troop P took the ball and ran with it. And here we are today. Please know that police officers, even in their most routine interaction, chasing a pair of AirPods, view it as an opportunity to make a difference. Detective McIntyre, Officer Grenfell, and Troop P made a difference. Behind me is a list of law enforcement agencies that have been integrally involved in this investigation. Assistant U.S. Attorney Michelle Olszewski, our office's Deputy Criminal Chief. Assistant U.S. Attorney Todd Hinckley, Assistant U.S. Attorney Louisa Birdie, who is here today, Resident Agent in charge of the Scranton FBI, Joe Noon, have tirelessly coordinated and led all of these agencies. Special Agent Jess Mahoney, Special Agent Joe Trano, who I want to thank him today for wearing a tie and a suit. He looks really good. Task Force Officer Matt Phillips, all of the Safe Street Task Force not only led the investigation and did the investigation themselves, but they served as liaisons to all of these law enforcement agencies. If you are a gang or a gang member thinking about conducting criminal business in the Middle District of Pennsylvania, be forewarned. This is a powerful, well-oiled, and selfless team. If you are in a gang or thinking about joining a gang, think about that again. Think about it for the good of yourself and your loved ones. The core members of this violent criminal street gang consisted of individuals from Maine, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. The gang's modus operandi was to lure unsuspecting men into meeting a woman for a date. In some instances, they used dating apps such as Plenty of Fish and Meet Me, among others. Amanda Marie Correa is the woman who orchestrated the dates. We believe her to be the leader of this gang, and we believe her to have ties to a gang in New York. One of the dates who would show up with Korea was a woman named Christine Deanne DiCarlo. She would be underneath Korea in terms of the hierarchy. While the victims were engaged in dates, Korea cased their homes, looking for firearms, cash, cell phones, identification documents, debit and credit cards, and other items of value. In instances where the victims engaged in sex acts in hotels and Airbnbs, gang members attempted to steal phones, bank, and credit cards, or utilize cash transfer applications on the victims' cell phones. In at least one instance, when a victim did not comply with their demands, the victim was kidnapped at gunpoint and driven across multiple counties to his home, where the gang members intended to rob him of his firearms, amongst other things. We need to thank Joe Peters for the hard work that his office did in that instance. Victims were usually offered cocaine, or what they believed to be cocaine, during the sexual encounter. Unbeknownst to the victims, members of the gang were lacing the cocaine with fentanyl as part of a broader drug trafficking conspiracy. Fentanyl is a Schedule II controlled substance that is 100 times more powerful than morphine and 70 times more powerful than heroin. I'm sure we're all aware of it in this room today. We know fentanyl, an amount equating to just grains of salt, can kill. If a victim refused to ingest the drugs, or the gang believed that the victim was not ingesting drugs quickly enough so that he would pass out, members of the gang would forcibly introduce fentanyl into the victims' bodies. Once the victims were incapacitated, or nearly incapacitated, other members of the gang would enter the victims' homes or location of the date. In addition to Korea and DiCarlo, other gang members included Dylan Wilson Small, a.k.a. Tooley, Samuel Jordan, Robert Andrew Barnes, a.k.a. Tripp, Shakir Jamont Blackwell, a.k.a. Clout, Shakur Seraphin Brownstein, a.k.a. Kerr, if the victims didn't acquiesce to the fentanyl, they suffered brutal beatings, robberies, kidnapping at gunpoint, and at the hands of these gang members. Credit cards, bank cards, cell phones, firearms, and other items of value were stolen and later used or trafficked within the Middle District of Pennsylvania by this gang. Our indictment currently includes charges related to 4 victims who succumbed to lethal doses of fentanyl, overdosed, and died. However, our investigation into other suspicious deaths continues up and down the East Coast. We are investigating over 50 more potential crime scenes. And of course, other suspects. On June 18, 2024, following an initial indictment, 7 individuals were charged in a superseding federal indictment that has been unsealed today with conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance resulting in death and distribution of controlled substance resulting in death. These offenses carry a mandatory minimum of 20 years in prison, and you could be sentenced up to life. Additionally, they're charged with brandishing a firearm during and in relation to drug trafficking, kidnapping, aggravated identity theft, please know that the indictment which we handed out today is only allegations, and that all persons charged are presumed to be innocent unless and until found guilty in a court. These 7 individuals are all off the streets right now. As of now, over 50 victims have been identified from the following geographic areas: Pennsylvania, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, and Virginia. If you believe you've been a victim, or if you have information about any of these crimes, please call the Scranton office of the FBI at 570-344-2404. Finally, to the law enforcement that are here today, that have worked on this case, and in general, thank you for the risks that you take and the sacrifices you make to protect us and to keep our community safe. Now, I'd like to introduce to you Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner Chris Paris, who will have a few words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's an honor to be here today with our federal and county prosecutors and our federal, county, and municipal law enforcement partners. The investigation and arrests we announced today prove once again that cooperation among police agencies is one of the most powerful tools in our toolbox. I am very proud of the determination and diligence of the Pennsylvania State Police troopers who worked this investigation with our partners, local, county, and federal. In just 3 months, their tireless efforts resulted in the culmination of a large-scale investigation, first spanning multiple counties and then expanding to multiple states. This investigation began as an investigation into drug deliveries resulting in death, specifically fentanyl deliveries resulting in death. A word about that. Each agency here today and thousands more nationwide share a common goal of stopping this dangerous drug from reaching our communities. We see the toll of controlled substances on society, from drug-related crimes to families torn apart by addiction. During the last 2 years, in 2022 and 2023, Pennsylvania State Police alone seized nearly 600 pounds of fentanyl worth more than $11 million. We would like to call that a success. But the terrible truth is, fentanyl contributed to more than 75% of the overdose deaths across Pennsylvania alone. It is indeed killing our people in our cities, our suburbs, and our small rural towns. The members of this street gang we're talking about today use fentanyl to their advantage. They use it to carry out their crimes, to steal, to rob, to murder. I am proud to say that because of the work that the Pennsylvania State Police has done in the cooperation with each of our law enforcement partner agencies, these dangerous criminals will be held accountable and justice will be sought for the victims and their families. I'd like to close by just adding to what U.S. Attorney Karam said. I am very pleased, and it is no exaggeration to say that all of the people behind me and I, as well as the people in front of me here, share a very close professional working relationship. And it does come down to the 3 C's: cooperation, coordination, and collaboration. Speaking on behalf of the Pennsylvania State Police, I'm honored to be with all of you today, and we pledge to not only continue, but expand upon these relationships to the betterment of not only the Commonwealth, but all across this great country. Thank you very much.
This investigation could not have been done and gotten to where it's at if we did not receive the appropriate resources from the FBI. Our office comes under the Philadelphia region of the FBI, and they supplied our Scranton resident agent in charge, Joe Noon, with all of the resources he needed to make sure that an A-plus job was going to be done on this case. And with regard to that, I thank the Philadelphia region of the FBI and would ask that Assistant Special Agent in charge, Jamie Milligan, have a few words.
Thank you, Jerry. Morning, everyone. My name is Jamie Milligan. I serve as the Assistant Special Agent in charge of FBI's Philadelphia Field Office. It's a real honor for me to be here today. I'm incredibly proud of our team and the work that they've done here and the partnership that they enjoy, that they have, and they continue to have. Cases like this are successful due in large part to the incredible work of partners across law enforcement. We're incredibly grateful to our partners from the Pennsylvania State Police, our other local law enforcement partners across the state of Pennsylvania, the District Attorney's Office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I thank them for their diligent work in building and investigating this case. Cases like this don't happen without close cooperation from multiple agencies. The people should know that this is not unique or uncommon for us to work these cases together. The partnership between these agencies represented here is strong, it is enduring. We've worked together for years. We are engaged in large cases like this, small cases like this. The partnership is outstanding and has been for years and will continue to be. I'd like to personally thank Colonel Paris, U.S. Attorney Karam, all the district attorneys, all the other departments that worked on this case, both inside Pennsylvania and outside Pennsylvania. These men and women, troopers, FBI agents, local law enforcement, the prosecution team, they were tireless in their efforts with this case, and I want to thank them for their hard work, their continued partnership. As a U.S. Attorney alluded, our work here is not done. We will continue to work with our partners here to try to identify additional victims. As you've seen, we have a number of victims here. We believe there may be more. And we will continue to work to try to identify additional subjects in this case. Just to echo U.S. Attorney Karam, if you believe that you have information that you can provide on this, or you believe you've been victimized by this gang, please reach out to us, call us, reach out to us on at the number provided there. We'd love to speak to you. We need your help to make sure that the rest of people involved in this case are brought to justice. Thank you.
So as I mentioned, our office has worked arm in arm with the local prosecutors in this case, from Wyoming County, Lackawanna County, Luzerne County. I need to mention two local Pennsylvania offices that couldn't make it here today, but Pike County and Berks County. We've been working arm in arm with them. And we've mostly talked today about the federal aspect of this case. But each of those counties also have a state criminal aspect of the case. And to that end, I would ask Sam Sangla-Dolce if he would come and say a few words.
Thank you, everyone. On behalf of Luzerne County and my district attorney partners across the state that contributed to this case, I think we all wish that today could be a celebration of the tremendous work and cooperation among the federal, state, county, and local levels of law enforcement. And indeed, we are all very proud of the work that all these many organizations put together in order to bring these criminals to justice. However, the truth is, the day that we all realized these first cases were not simple overdoses, if such a thing as a simple overdose exists, it was a terrifying and sobering day throughout law enforcement and throughout the state of Pennsylvania. We are not the suburban, rural coal towns that we once were. The crimes of the big city are here, and I have said many times that we cannot pretend that they are not. With this press conference today, unfortunately, these crimes have exceeded the horrors that we watch on national news every day. With approximately the potential to have 50+ victims in this case, we are witnessing the use of fentanyl as a murder weapon. The opioid epidemic with which we're all familiar played no small role in the trouble we see and the difficulties we had in this investigation. In Luzerne County, as you know, over the years we're seeing approximately 250 overdose deaths per year. That led some of us to the assumption that in initially seeing these cases, that these were self-inflicted or accidental overdoses. Only through the hard work of law enforcement did we learn that these were in fact intentional murders. Thanks to the work of the Pennsylvania State Police Troop P, multiple troops in fact, the Luzerne County District Attorney's Office, the Luzerne County Drug Task Force, Newport Township, Wyoming Area Regional Police Department, Wyoming County District Attorney Joe Peters, Lackawanna County District Attorney Mark Powell, Berks County District Attorney John Adams, and Pike County District Attorney Ray Tonkin. We were able to bring these cases together. The state has prepared charges, an open count of criminal homicide, which includes not only first-degree murder, but second-degree felony murder, the conspiracies associated with those murders, and a third-degree murder is also included. We are also investigating the state charges for drug delivery resulting in death. At this time, because we do not have a statute of limitations on murder, we will be holding our charges in abeyance. Being that the defendants in these cases are facing federal charges and are in federal custody, we can await the conclusion of their cases to bring our charges or make an attempt to consolidate our cases together. I know that the commendations have been widespread throughout this day, so I don't think I need to reiterate the people that were already thanked, but I think certain troopers and certain investigators I would like to thank. Chief Mike Turner from Wyoming Area Regional PD, Troopers Sean Cooney, Sam Edwards, Ben Menig, and Len Blasavage, our own detective Larry Whitehead, Deputy District Attorney Dan Marsh and Assistant District Attorney Julian Truskowski, who have worked very closely with AUSA's Michelle Olszewski and John Gerganis and Louisa Berti in this case to coordinate the charges together. FBI Special Resident Agent Joe Noon and his team, United States Marshal William Pugh, and Deputy U.S. Marshal Bobby Lenahan and their team, Wilkes-Barre Police Chief Joe Coffey for dedicating the resources necessary from Wilkes-Barre to assist us, and Scranton Police Chief as well, Chief Thomas Carroll. In conclusion, I am proud of the cooperation and the amazing work in untangling this web of deceit, drugs, and death, and bringing these criminals into custody in the pursuit of justice. It marks a distressing day in our county, state, and nation, and we have a long road ahead. We have, as United States Attorney Jerry Karam said. An arrest does not mean a conviction, and while they are presumed innocent, we are certainly going to pursue these convictions to the fullest extent of the law. We can only hope that the penalties in this case act as a deterrent to others seeking to inflict this kind of crime on our communities. I want to thank you all for being here and thank my law enforcement partners for coordinating these efforts and bringing these people to justice.
That completes the press conference. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thank you, Troop P, for your hospitality.